Peace, power, and prosperity. This is kind of a pop-up live, guys, so a lot of y'all won't be here. You can catch it on the replay. First and foremost, I want to shout out to Hank Rising Sun for him blessing me with the piece. I truly appreciate it. A nice turquoise piece, so I appreciate it. We had a great conversation last week. Since I shot my last video, I didn't get a chance to shout him out. So shout out to Hank Rising Sun, and shout out to the brother that put me on to Hank Rising Sun as well. I didn't expect to see him. Um, oh, I see some of y'all coming in the building. Okay, like I said, this is a pop-up live, so I just wanted to really have a conversation. Y'all can give me feedback, and it's in the chat too, and we could just have a discussion. I kind of want to talk about this Nick Cannon thing real quick, since it's on the minds of the masses, and kind of talk about it. Hey, what's up, Alexis? And kind of talks about it in a esoteric manner, to give some context to the situation. Okay. Now, Nick Cannon. Shout out to Nick Cannon first and foremost. Okay. I am not doing this video to disparage. Let me take this down. I'm not doing this video to disparage Nick Cannon in any way, shape, or form. I'm not here to attack him. I'm not here to tear him down. I'm not here to call him a coon. I'm not here to call him a sellout. I'm not here to call him none of that. Because you know what the truth is? Too many of us love doing that shit. Too many of us love tearing each other down or seeing when one of us are down and being the knee on our own people's necks when we see them down. We want to apply the knee to make it even worse. Okay. Now, I said this on Instagram, so I'm going to say it here. When you are in corporate America, when you work in corporate America, when you work a job, when you are getting money from white people, when you're getting your paycheck from white folks, if they're the ones who butter your bread, they're going to be the ones that have a say so in what you're going to do for the rest of your life. They're the ones that are going to determine how you feed your family, how you feed your children, how you feed the next generation, how you keep your lights on, how you pay your mortgage, how you pay your water bill, how you pay your car note, how you put gas in your car. This is so let's be real. Let's look at this from a realistic perspective, not a fantasy perspective. And what is the fantasy perspective in this? The fantasy perspective is that, oh, Nick Cannon's a sellout because he should have stood up to the people. Should he have stood up to the people? Yeah, he should have stood up to the people because he said what he said. And what he said was not wrong. We all know who the original Jews are, right? And plus, even if you look at the history of Jews in America, how much money did they make off black art? How much money did they make off black culture? From our old, from even our musicians back in the day, you know, the you know, like what you call it, from Why Do Fools Fall in Love, and just artists in the 60s, artists in the 50s, artists in the 40s. You know, how many Jews made money off our music? Even Def Jam, right? Def Jam, Rick Rubin, what's his name, who Dame Dash always calls a culture vulture, right? He's always, how much money did he make off Def Jam? How much money he's still making off of black music? How much money are these places, right? These places that are so-called so against anti-Semitism and being anti-Semitic. How many of these companies and these corporations hire black entertainers or have black entertainers on staff or run record labels where black people talk about doing nothing but killing each other on record or talking about calling them savages, calling them ratchets on records and on television? And how many of them own Viacom owns VH1? VH1. You ever seen Love and Hip Hop? You ever seen Basketball Wives? Hey, what's up, Sweet Tig? What's up, Pretty Wayne? What's up, M&M? You ever seen Basketball Wives? You ever seen Love and Hip Hop? These are all companies that Viacom owns. Most of these reality shows are under the wing of Viacom themselves. So it's okay for us to talk about killing each other. It's okay for us to embarrass each other and look like fools on TV. But the minute someone springs some truth about some history, then they have to get canceled. Then they have to get put to the side. But again, when you work in corporate, you work in corporate. And there's certain rules when you work in corporate. You could call Nick Cannon a sellout all you want. You can call him a coon all you want. But go to your boss and say what Nick Cannon said. Before last year, there was a struggle for black women to even wear their natural hairstyles to work. Let's not forget that, right? There was laws that had to be passed here in New York so black women could wear their own natural hairstyles, their dreadlocks, their twist, to work in New York City. So the thing about spiritual development is we think when we have knowledge that that's it, that that's the end all be all. I read some books, I have some knowledge, and that's all I say, right? You read some books, had some knowledge, and that's all I have. And once I have this knowledge, then now it's just for me to regurgitate the knowledge that I have, which is what happens when you are newly woke, which is what Nick is. Nick is a brother that is newly woke. He reminded me of me when I was 21, 22, getting these books, reading Chancellor Williams, reading Ivan Van Sertima, reading Message to the Black Man, um, reading Destruction of Black Civilization, reading books by Anthony T. Browder, right? When you go through the cipher of learning about yourself and learning about who you are, you have to be cautious about how you disseminate the knowledge that you are learning. The key after knowledge, according to the God 5% Nation Supreme Mathematics, is after knowledge comes wisdom. So after you get the knowledge, how do you scrutinize the knowledge that you have? How do you utilize the knowledge that you have? And once you scrutinize the knowledge that you have and disseminate it and make sure it makes sense, then the next stage is what do you do with that knowledge and how is it going to affect others, right? So sometimes the truth, see, this world is based on mythology. This world is not based on the truth. This world is based on mythology, not the truth. The truth has nothing. The only way the truth applies is when it comes to solid laws, like laws of physics. Like, for instance, you can't jump off a 200-story building and expect to survive, right? Those are laws of physics. You can't break that law. 9 o'clock in the morning, there's going to be sunshine, right? It's not going to be nighttime. You can't break that law. So those are truths. But when it comes to things that are subjective, like history, like principles, like morals, those quote unquote truths are based on someone else's idea of what the truth is 99% of the time. Now, I'm not going to talk about the concept. I'm not going to talk about necessarily what Nick said. We all should at this point know that and their history, black people's history predates the white Jew all day, all day. I was in a drummer circle actually 2 weeks ago, and I saw a Jewish person, straight yarmulke, straight knotted hair, smoking a whole Newport right next to me with the whole black and white outfit on. So Jews have made it to the point where they have to be seen as holy. They have to be seen as pure. And if you say anything about them, you're going to be blackballed. That's just the way it is. But the key to this is, yeah, yikes is correct. The key, and I've seen, and living in New York, I've seen Jewish people do all type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Looking at children inappropriately, cursing people out, being abusive towards their women, right? All that shit. So they're no better than anyone else. But the construct, the social construct, someone put it in there, is that they are better than anyone else. And they're, well, not even better than anyone else, but that because they went through a Holocaust, you can't say anything about them. Because if you say anything bad about them, it's anti Semitic. And it means that you're trying to throw them back in the oven. But what about the Black Holocaust? What about slavery? What about us losing our language, us losing our culture, us losing our identity, us losing our scriptures, us losing our juju, our magic, our ways of communicating, our drum? What about that? Where's our anti-defamation league? But the thing is, we don't have the resources in order to create an anti-defamation league. We don't have a collective there we could stop people from talking about us and saying things about us. We don't have that type of these type of facilities erected. So without these type of facilities erected, you're going these things are going to continue to continuously happen. Because here's the thing: when black men step up and black women step up and they start speaking to their people and they start uplifting and they start enlightening people, what happens in the end? They usually die broke. Martin Luther King died broke. Malcolm X died broke. Marcus Garvey died broke. You understand? Something about black people that I've discovered, especially American black people, is that they do not honor their intellects. They do not honor their C. Freeman L's. They do not honor their Bobby Hemmitts. They do not honor their Francis Cress Welsons. They are not honoring the people that are intellects. Even Professor James Gates, who really started this whole quantum theory, started this whole this that we live in a simulation. He doesn't get his props, right? But you know what everyone else does? Everyone else, because they stole this science from us, they big up their ancestors. They big up their elders. They big up the ones that came before them. They put statues up and erect statues up and show actual physical constructs of their greatness in ancient times. But we don't do that for ours. If they play basketball, yeah. If they play football, yeah, they'll get a statue, right? If they play basketball, they'll get a statue in front of Staples Center. But literally, the only statues we erect, shit, do we even erect statues? Only reactionary. Only when someone does something to us first and then we react back. So here's the thing. We can't be mad at Nick for what he did. Can't be mad at Nick for what he did. Because this whole thing would have got Nick banned off his show, Wildin' Out, which, shout out to Nick again, because Nick, if you look at Wildin' Out, the whole color palette of Wildin' Out is red, black, and green. The color palette of Wildin' Out is red, black, and green. So that's something that he did consciously for us. Canon's class that he created on YouTube, he did that consciously for us. And the people that he hires at his company, mostly black and brown people, those are us. So when Nick Cannon goes down, he is a corporation. He is a CEO. He's not just a regular worker where he loses his job or he loses his job, he just goes to another job. No. Nick hires people. Nick has people on payroll. So when Nick goes down, all those people on his payroll go down with him. All those people lose their job. All those people can't support their family. All those people have to struggle again. Now, I'm not saying that he shouldn't have stuck to his guns, right? But there's a huge sacrifice for him sticking to his guns. And based on the history of the Black American community, they don't support their martyrs, or else Malcolm X kids would be rich. Huey Newton's kids would be rich. Marcus Garvey's children would be rich. Should I go on? The only reason Farrakhan his children may stay rich is because they have their own insulated organization where the NOI strictly looks out for the NOI. Yeah, Farrakhan will give a speech here and there and talk to the people overall, but his main focus is the NOI and to get more people in the NOI. So don't even think he's looking out for all black people. And this is not a knock on Farrakhan. Shout out to Farrakhan. He's done more for black people than I could ever say I've done. But we have to think critically about all of this and why are people doing what they're doing and what is the end game. Again, like I said, don't look at the physical. Don't look at the fancy speech. Look at the purpose. So Nick apologizing was not to hurt anybody. I don't think he's a sellout. I think he was trying. I think in him being newly woke, I think in him being newly conscious, I think in him being newly, and I remember this time, I could go back to that time being newly woke and newly conscious. I remember that my job, I'm going to tell you a story. I remember at my job, right? When I was newly woke and newly conscious and reading all the books, the good books of good black history, they had sent out an email, a mass email, and the email had angels, right? It had angels on it, but it had, the white angels that they show with the blonde hair and a little gut, right? So they sent the mass email, and I'm like, and I sent mass email back to everybody, CC'd everybody. Thought I don't think these angels should be white because angels aren't really white, they're black, right? I was taking a stand. I was speaking the truth that I knew, right? But it got me in some hot water, right? Because that wasn't my job. I didn't own that place of business. I didn't own that company. I wasn't the CEO. I wasn't the manager. Even if I was the manager, I wasn't the CEO. I wasn't the owner of the company. I didn't cut no checks. So when they brought me in the office to talk to me about it, even though I said what I said, they said what they said. And I had to make a choice. Do I feed my children or do I take this stand and I can't pay my rent and I can't feed my daughter? And if I take this stand, right, and then I say, fuck it, who am I going to go to that's black that's going to hire me so I can take care of my family, pay my rent, feed my daughter? That's the thing y'all don't realize. Yeah, Diddy said go to Revolt, but Revolt is owned by Viacom. So that was a marketing play by Diddy. That was a marketing play. That's all it was. Because don't think he could say that slick shit on Revolt either. Because Diddy's company is owned by white people as well. So that was just marketing. So we got to look, again, like I always tell y'all, we got to look behind the veil. We got to look behind the veil. So, and if you're coming in the building, please hit that like button. All right? Please hit that like button. That's all I ask. Salute to all y'all. Sweet Tea, Gino, Colleen. Okay. Shout out to y'all, Poison Ivy. And so, how to fire your cannon in corporate America is you have to establish, especially in 2020, which you should already be doing. If you're still depending on corporate America, if you're just leaning on unemployment, if you're just leaning on stimulus checks, if you're just leaning on the fact that, you know, um, I don't know what you're leaning on, but if you're depending on the government and you don't have some type of side hustle, you don't have some sort of stream, you don't have some sort of investment outside of corporate America, then guess what? You can get fired and canceled too and lose your source of income. You could get fired and you could get canceled too and lose your source of income. Because all them people that's talking that shit about Nick Cannon's a sellout and Nick Cannon's a coon, they don't got no job for Nick Cannon. They don't have no check to cut for Nick Cannon in the millions. They're not going to give Nick that generational wealth that he's going to need to take care of his family. Not only that, to take care of his black team. Nick's been riding for the people, regardless of him apologizing, right? You're going to throw out all that work, all them Cannon's classes, the wilding out, all the staff that he's hired, all the statements that he's made, all him getting behind and supporting Dr. Sebi's documentary. You're going to throw that out over him apologizing for one thing? Travelers and employees should enter the airport terminal. Is that your pain body talking? Is that the stress that you're under talking? Is that your need to vent pain, misdirected pain on someone else? Or are you really looking at his body of work? See, we're quick to cancel people. And we're quick to throw people in the trash, but we're very slow to remember those who have done things for us. Okay, very slow to remember what people have actually done for us. And by us, I mean as the collective black community here in America. That's who Nick was doing this stuff for. Nick Cannon didn't need to do no canon class at all. Please believe it. And the thing is, y'all complain that he apologized. Y'all call him a coon and sellout, but niggas is literally rapping about that they're ratchet, bougie, savages. Niggas is rapping about shooting niggas in the head 20 million times a day. Niggas is rapping about fucking what else? What else are people entertaining? Dancing, literally cooning, right? Literally cooning. And we look at it like they're cool. We don't call them sellouts. We don't cancel them. There's entertainers out there that give us nothing but dancing, singing and dancing, great singing and dancing. And we worship them. May I have your attention, please? We follow them. We're super fans of them. But they do nothing for us. But the minute someone that does something for us does something that the collective feels is not likely, is not something that they approve of, then automatically they trash him or her. What about dialogue? What about understanding? Now, it looks very bad because Nick shouldn't have said all this shit that he was saying in Canon's class and saying all the things that he was talking about without him backing it up. But that is the problem of becoming newly conscious. And this is why when I do classes with people, when I talk to people, I always tell them, take your time, don't rush. A lot of us that you see here that teach magic, and I'm not really talking about magic this time, I'm just having a conversation with y'all, right? But a lot of us here that teach magic that are of a certain age or teach spirituality that are of a certain age. Do you know how long we've been reading? Do you know how long we've been studying? Do you ever know how many ups and downs we've gone through to be able to give y'all this message? You know how foolish we've been in the past? It's not a one, two, three thing. And Nick Cannon was trying to microwave his consciousness on the low, you know? He was trying to microwave his consciousness by going to Howard University, taking the classes. And I believe Nick was genuine. And I believe Nick is genuine in what he said. I don't believe Nick's apology is genuine. It's just like when white people, you think they're genuine with these Black Lives Matters signs that they got on these websites now? You think they're genuine? Since we're talking about the truth, since we're talking about canceling people, since we're talking about apologies and why his is so bad, you think their apology is genuine? But Nick does an apology, which is basically designed to, if you again look at it from this eye. Stop looking at it from these eyes. Look at it from this side. Look at the stuff he's done. If you really think he feels what he said, then you are a fool. Then you believe that these corporations really think Black Lives Matter now. If one is true, the other got to be true. If his apology isn't genuine, if his apology is genuine, then their apology got to be genuine too. But at the end of the day, it's all business. And again, if the black community was in the position to take care of you when you cursed your boss out and called your boss a Jew or called your boss a dirty cracker or told your boss to fuck off, I hate the way white people treat black people. And we've all that worked in corporate America in some way, shape, or form have seen it. If that's truly the case, if that's truly the case, then where is the safety net? Because the thing is, when white people shoot black people, unarmed cops shoot black people, guess what? Their GoFundMe's get lit. They're able to make millions off GoFundMe. Because guess what? The cops support them and the racist whites support them financially. Facts. They take care of them, right? When something happens to one of the conservatives and they get fired or they get shitted on, there's white people that come to their defense financially and take care of them. Make sure their GoFundMe's straight. Make sure that they have some sort of financial restitution. You think when these Karens get fired, you don't think there's Facebook pages set up? Go on Facebook. There's Facebook pages set up for these Karens when they get fired for their job, and they have GoFundMe's and they have fundraisers, and sometimes they're making more, just like the cops. They're making more than they made when they were cops or when they were doing, excuse me, living their regular 9 to 5 life. So, how you bust your cannon in America is this: you create your own way of making money. You create your own way, independent of the system, to make your own finances. That's how you really bust your cannon. And if you have a financier, such as a Nick Cannon, if you have someone that has a lot of money, you tell them to shut the fuck up. They don't need to talk. They need to know what they know and be a silent financier. This is the way every other culture plays the game. Every other culture, they have their mouthpieces, they have their treasurers, and they have their financiers. Everyone's not supposed to be a mouthpiece. The person with the money is not supposed to be the mouthpiece. The person with the money is supposed to be financing the person with the mouthpiece. So there's a little bit of ego in the Nick situation too, but he don't know. He's becoming conscious. He's stepping into his consciousness. I just seen Nick start doing this maybe 2, 3 years ago. So he's not really qualified. And even if you watch that shit with Professor Griff, he was stuttering and stumbling over his words. He really didn't know what to say because he wasn't qualified to have that conversation. Griff is qualified to have that conversation. Griff is qualified because he's been doing this for 20 something years. So he's qualified to have that conversation, but not Nick Cannon. And again, Griff don't work for corporate America. So Griff could say whatever the fuck he want to say. But he don't work. He don't get a check from Viacom. He don't get a royalty check from Viacom every month. So we got to be careful. Now, Charlemagne the God says something. They're going to make him apologize. Probably by the end of the day, Charlemagne's going to apologize, but they're going to kick him off. So be careful how your energy is being utilized. There's something that's very real called energy vampirism. And your energy is food, not only for them, for me. Because when I see y'all get stressed out and go hard at the situation, I use that as food. Your pain, your rage, I tap into that. I tap into y'all rage. I tap into y'all pain. And whoever y'all directing it at, and I use them as a sigil. I use them as a sigil, as a magical amulet, their face, their image, their energy. And then I feel y'all energy towards that. And I divert that energy towards my own personal goals in terms of my own personal success. I've been doing this quite some time. I got a lot of energy off y'all from Trump on a continuous basis. Because the same way they energy vamp y'all and y'all let them, fuck it, I'm an energy vamp y'all too. Why not? They doing it, y'all doing it freely. So why not do the same thing to y'all? Do the same thing a plant does, right? They take in light, they take in energy from the sun, and they feed themselves. They take in water, which is a flow,
For your protection and
which
for
is a
those
flow
around
of
you,
energy,
the Governor of
and they
Nevada
feed
has
themselves.
declared face
Light,
coverings
water.
are mandatory in public
So I
spaces,
could take the light
including the
from y'all
airport.
the
Please
light
keep
that
your
y'all
mouth
giving
and nose
Nick
covered
Cannon,
while
and
around
I could take
others.
the flow
Thank you.
that y'all giving Nick Cannon and utilize that for my own purposes. So watch what you're watching. Watch what you're mad at. Watch what you're getting stressed out at. Make sure you're looking at the whole picture, not just the picture that they gave you. It's very easy to call someone a coon and sellout, but ask yourself the question: are you going to your job saying that? Are you going to your landlord saying that? Are you going to your boss saying that? Are you going to your banker saying that? You, not Nick, not the celebrity, not somebody you could point the finger at and say, "Oh, you're a sellout, you're a coon." You yourself in your day-to-day life, are you keeping it that real? Where you're really willing to listen? Where you're willing to risk it all and lose it all? Because if you're gonna judge him by that, you better judge yourself by that same by that same ruler, by that same measurement. So, in closing, again, how you bust your can in America is create your own. What is your purpose? Why are you here? I always come back to this and I always will. Why did the sperm meet the egg in your mama? And why did you dump out of her vagina and start walking and start talking? Was it so that you could focus on Nick Cannon? Was it so that you could focus on QAnon? Was it that you could focus on Trump? Was it that you could focus on pedophilia? What else is out there? Was it that you could focus on Chrissy Teigen? Was it that you could focus on the NASCAR news? Was it so that you could focus on you and getting yourself together so that you could have perception and see the games that's being played on you? It's the games being played on you on a day-to-day basis. And this week is one of those weeks where in your personal life, your personal life, because that's the way the astrology is, Moon and Aries, Cancer, we're in Cancer season. So it's dealing with your emotions and it's dealing with your authenticity, your authentic self. So there's parts that this week have been pushing you to be authentic, as to step out from your own shadow. So are you busting your own canon in your life? Are you changing the way you approach people in social media? Are you changing the way you approach people in the street? Are you stepping into the new you, the new spiritual, powerful you? The new you that has techniques and tips that Rob Blackstone has been giving y'all in 90, like 80 something videos that you could get yourself together and get yourself to the point where you're not depending on this media to inform you, but yet you're informing yourself through the means of your spirit, through your African spiritual technology that's designed to upgrade you on a day-to-day basis. See, these stories to me are entertainment. I don't take anything personal out of them anymore, but I used to. So I know where you are. I used to, because that's the way we're conditioned to pay attention to the media. And once I realized the media ran these niggas, once I realized the media runs niggas, and I was like, oh, let me look at the media different. And let me see what the underlying reason is. So, of course, this is a way to silence black people, right? This Nick Cannon thing, the Charlemagne thing, even the Wayfair thing, where they won't show on Instagram or Facebook anything about Wayfair. Can you trust the fact? You can't even trust the fact checkers. You can't trust Snopes. You can't trust none of them. The only people you can trust is yourself. So let's stop being so happy about tearing each other down when we see each other go down. Let's try to look at the person total package, not just one thing. Because it's really fucked up that y'all doing Nick like this after all the work he done put in for y'all and tried to put in for y'all. But y'all will go shopping for these corporations. Y'all will go shopping at these same very corporations that you don't give a fuck about you, but merely has a Black Lives Banner on their website. Are you a sellout for shopping from Amazon? Huh? Do you know the business practices of Amazon? Are you a sellout for shopping from Amazon? Are you a sellout for wearing T-shirts from China where you know there's child labor? Let's talk about real sellout. Are you sellout buying Nikes from China knowing that they use child labor? Now let's talk about it. Let's talk about selling out. What do you do at your job? Is your job ethical? Is it moral, or are they fucking people over? So how you fire your cannon, how you're able to say what you want, do what you want, is create your own. So if we look at this as a sellout movement, if we look at this as a cool movement, then we lost. We lost. We lost. But if we look at this as a moment of clarity and as a moment where we got to get our shit together, instead of pointing the finger at them, point the finger back at us. And if you was in my Uncut Gems class Sunday, I told y'all that all we got to do is steal the culture back from them. The same culture that they use to suppress and take over Hollywood and subjugate us. And this is all cultures and all races that are doing this against us. Black people are the only people that ain't got no juju. Black people are the only people that don't got no juju, no magic around them. The only magic they keep around is Jesus and some praise. And everybody else is using crystals. They're using avatars. They're using statues. They're using flags. They're using sounds. They're using frequency. They're using imagery to control you and subjugate you. So they're firing their cannons all day at your headpiece. And the biggest problem with you niggas is this. And I'm gonna say this. The biggest problem with niggas is this. Niggas think that they are not an underclass, a permanent underclass. And the main reason niggas think that they're not a permanent underclass in America is because they're able to buy some Louis, some Gucci, some Prada, take a trip somewhere every now and then, buy a nice house and a nice car every once in a while. And because of these things, these material things, even though no matter how much money they have, they experience racism. Even though no matter how much money they have, they can still get shot by police. Even though no matter how much money they have, they still have to deal with an oppressive institutional system. They have convinced you that you are not a permanent underclass by saying, hey, look, we got Diddy, we got Oprah, we got this one, the Talented 10, the Boule. So because we don't know that we're a permanent underclass, we think shit is sweet. Shit ain't sweet. This week has showed you shit ain't sweet. If they want to pull the plug on me on YouTube, it can happen. They want to put a Black Magic 363, Rich's channel, last Saturday got cut off for no reason. He got it back, but it got cut off. This can happen to anybody. But I got a lot of y'all emails, so I can rebuild someplace else. So don't think I haven't thought about a plan B just in case this shit gets shut down. So again, you want to bust your cannon, you want to say what you want to say, you got to be like Professor Griff. You got to be like Steven Jackson. You can't have these jobs in corporate America and have Jews and white people pay you and think you're just gonna say whatever you want to say and do whatever you want to do in their house. They own that shit. That's their plantation that you chose to work on. Regardless of how you feel about it, your rights and shit like that. Go to China and ask about rights. Go to Turkey and ask about rights. Go to Yemen and ask about rights. Go to Russia and ask about individual rights. America is the only place where people can bitch and complain about rights. If I'm lying, I'm dying. America's the only place where people can bitch and complain about rights. Y'all don't know how to bust y'all cannon yet. Y'all thinking y'all busting y'all cannon is telling the truth. When Jesus is running the world. A myth called Jesus is running the world. I'm gonna say it again. A myth, fake shit called Christianity runs the world. Fake shit called Islam runs the world. Those are the two biggest religions, both made of fake shit. Stolen scripture, stolen magic. Okay? But they are a myth, but they run the world. How much money did Avengers make? Wasn't it the highest grossing movie in America last year? Highest grossing movie ever? Mythology. Mythology. But y'all want to keep it real. Again, the Black Lives Matter banners on y'all websites is mythology. The Black Lives Matter murals in your cities is mythology. Them taking down statues and putting new ones up is mythology. It's mythology. It's all part of a narrative. It's all part of a narrative. So, what are you going to do? That's the key. How are you going to bust your gun in this wild, wild west? Because you can't trust nothing anymore but you. Again, look at the Wayfair shit. Look at the Wayfair thing. You can't even post about it without it being there being a big block over it on social media. Look at what they did to David Icke when he started speaking about Corona. Y'all don't see what's happening? It's getting more and more like China every day. It's getting less and less freedom. There's places now where they're mandating You have to wear face masks, not just in the store, but on the streets. So this means outside your home, someone is regulating what you do with your face in the name of public safety. Mythology. Because if it's not mythology, didn't Dr. Fauci himself come on TV and say you don't need to wear a mask? Look it up. In March or April, Dr. Fauci came on TV out of his own mouth and said you don't need to wear a mask. And in fact, Dr. Fauci, out of his own mask, if I'm lying, I'm dying, he said that wearing a mask may make things worse. But guess what? People are still wearing masks, and people are still mandating that you have, and people are starting to mandate in Jersey. They're about to mandate in New Jersey that you have to wear a mask outside wherever you go, not just the store, wherever you go. Mythology. So y'all so worried about keeping it real and keeping it accurate that y'all missing that this is not this world is not it's not even a real world. We live in a hologram. We live in a virtual reality. We live in a light and sound show. So bust your cannon accordingly. Make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you take care of your family first, which I'm sure is what Nick Cannon is doing. Taking care of his family, taking care of his crew, taking care of his staff, and making sure he has generational wealth. And hopefully someone in his ear telling him to shut the fuck up in the future, apologize, do what you gotta do to apologize, and finance your shit on the low. Finance the things that you want to finance on the low. And just be the financier. That's really all we need Nick Cannon for. There's plenty of, we need way less rhetoric, and we need more finances. We need buildings, we need stores, we need statues. And most importantly, the universe needs you to step into your power and step into your purpose. More than y'all need Nick Cannon. Because the main reason a lot of y'all is mad because y'all thought y'all was looking for a leader. Y'all was looking for a black leader. But you didn't want to lead your motherfucking self. Peace, power, prosperity. Rob Blackstone. I'm out.